The world's biggest oil lifeline is burning, not in visible flames, but in tension, in positioning, in a warning that just echoed across the geopolitical landscape. We are ready. That statement is not just rhetoric. It is a signal, a calculated message sent at a moment when the system is already fragile. And when signals like this appear, history tells us something is shifting beneath the surface. Because this is not just about words. It's about capability, intent, timing. When a regional power signals readiness in the middle of rising global tension, it means preparation has already happened. The infrastructure is in place. The strategies are set. The only variable left is the trigger. Think about this. A $20,000 drone can now challenge billion-dollar defense systems. A low-cost missile can force high-cost responses. This is the David versus Goliath dynamic, redefining modern conflict. Small, precise, strategic actions, creating massive consequences across global systems. And that's why this matters. Because when Iran signals readiness, it's not just about a potential military clash. It's about the systems connected to it. Energy, trade, finance, all interconnected, all vulnerable. Now let's go deeper. Iran sits at one of the most strategic locations in the world, near the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point through which nearly 20% of global oil flows. This is not just geography, this is leverage. Because control over that region means influence over global energy markets. Now imagine a scenario where readiness turns into action, even a partial disruption, not a full closure, just uncertainty. Shipping slows, insurance costs spike, tankers reroute, supply tightens, and markets react instantly. Now oil prices surge, and when oil surges, inflation follows. This is the chain reaction. Higher energy costs lead to higher costs across the economy. Now central banks respond, raise interest rates, tighten liquidity, but the system is already under pressure. Global debt exceeding $300 trillion, built on years of cheap money. Now that money is no longer cheap, and debt becomes harder to manage. This creates stress, across governments, across corporations, across households. Now move to financial markets. Stocks react to uncertainty, currencies shift, capital flows adjust. Because investors are not just reacting to events, they are reacting to risk, and risk is rising. Now here's the contrast. On one side you have the United States and its allies, massive military capability, global financial dominance. On the other side you have a regional power using asymmetric strategies, missiles, drones, strategic positioning, lower cost, higher flexibility. This is the imbalance. And in that imbalance lies vulnerability, because high-cost systems struggle against persistent low-cost threats. Now multiply that across time, across multiple points of tension. This becomes unsustainable. Now let's step back and look at history, because this pattern has happened before. Before major conflicts, there are signals, warnings, statements, positioning. Before World War I, alliances formed quietly. Before World War II, economies shifted before open conflict began. The signs were there, but not everyone recognized them. Now look at today. Different technology, different actors, but the same pattern. Preparation, signaling, escalation below the threshold of war. Now let's go even deeper, because the real story is not just geopolitical, it is financial. The global system is built on stability, stable energy prices, stable trade routes, stable currencies. But when stability is questioned, the system reacts. Now consider inflation, already elevated in many regions. Now add energy shock. Inflation increases further. Central banks tighten policy. Liquidity decreases. This creates financial pressure. Now consider debt. Massive global debt levels. Higher rates make that debt harder to service. This creates vulnerability. Now combine this with geopolitical tension, and you get a system under strain. This is the hidden layer. Because wars are not just fought with weapons. They are fought with money, with energy, with control over systems. Now let's look forward. In the next 24 to 72 hours, the situation may not escalate dramatically. No immediate large-scale conflict, but signals will continue, statements, movements, adjustments. Markets will react to each one. Because uncertainty is high, but the real shift is long-term. Because once a system enters this phase, it doesn't return to stability easily. It transitions, gradually, then suddenly. Now consider the broader implications. Higher energy prices, more volatile markets, increased geopolitical tension. This creates pressure on governments, on economies, on societies. This is not just a warning. This is a signal of change. Now here's the most important point. The system is already fragile. High debt, tightening liquidity, geopolitical tension. And now, explicit signals of readiness. This is the convergence. Multiple pressures aligning at once. This is how crises begin. Now here's the final warning. Iran is ready is not just a statement. It is a message. a strategic signal in a system already under stress, and history shows us what happens next. When signals like this appear during periods of instability, they often precede major shifts, economic disruptions, political realignments, sometimes even broader conflict. The system doesn't collapse immediately. It destabilizes, then it shifts, then it resets. The only question is this: are we witnessing a warning that will pass, or the early stage of a deeper transformation that will redefine global power, energy markets, and financial stability for years to come?